Hello YouTubers and welcome to Make the Call with RC. I'm RC and today we have an author that's written a really fantastic book called Stand Up America, Walt English. Walt, thank you for having me in your house to interview you.
Thank you.
So how long ago did you write this book?
I wrote it in 2014.
Okay. So it's not far off from today.
No.
A little bit more corruption too. It's hard to keep up with the corruption, you know. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about the book Stand Up America. You can get it on lulu.com.
You can get it on any online bookstore.
And it's Stand Up America by Walt English.
And the neat thing is it's free.
And it's free. And it's very informative too. It's a really eye-opening book into our political system. And of course we are here live and teleprompter free. And we are also not bought out by corporations. This is straight out the pocket, so you're getting the real news. So let's go ahead and cover, this is a really voluminous book, Walt.
And information.
And yes.
It's not that many pages, but it has a lot of information.
You're covering everything. I mean, right up to Obamacare. And so, but today we're going to go over our elected representatives. Basically, for the last 150 years, the Republicans and Democrats have totally been in control of our country. Ever since the 16th Amendment, which gave them innumerable power to tax anything you own. We're talking anything, okay? There is innumerable means anything in any amount that they see fit. And we have to remember that 75% of our representatives in Congress and Senate they're lawyers. So they're there making the laws that don't affect them. And as you'll see in his book, that they're also completely tax-free, completely free entities, basically. They get to do whatever they want for free.
A privileged class is what they've made themselves.
Exactly. A privileged class of lawmakers, and they are also lawbreakers, because even when they break laws, they don't get indicted. So the book, once again, is Stand Up America by Walt English. Today we're going to cover Chapter 1. So, Walt, let's go ahead and go into...
Well, if I can preface why I wrote the book, is because I watched my grandfather and my dad with their friends talk about politics and how frustrating it was. And we could always, like go to breakfast with my friends now, we can always talk about the situations, but we never resolve anything. And the whole purpose of me writing this book was to give an unknown power at the end of the book. The last chapter tells how we can actually get our congressmen, senators, and the President of the United States to listen to us. That's the whole key. But you have to be given all this information to make you... I wanted to make people angry, because these are things that they don't know about. And our congressmen and senators don't work for us. They work for themselves. The first thing I wanted to do is let everybody know that each congressman makes $174,000 a year. And that's pretty good money. But when you look at that, they're only working 2.67%, 2.67 days a week. Additionally, one of the things that you need to be aware of is they get $922,000 to run a staff. That's their staff allowance. And the average employee, they can hire up to 18 permanent employees, and they can pay them an average of $51K. And that's more than the average American gets paid. But again, you're going to end up with probably maybe 9 or 8 staff members that work for them.
Do they work for them full time, or do they only have to show up 3 days a week?
I'm sure that when when the cat's away, the mice can play. So I think they do all the work.
Yeah.
Really. I think they're overworked. Third, they get $250,000 for all their office supplies. In their congressional district, they divvy it up between that and Washington, D.C. They get travel expense, and this is going to be something that, when we get into the figures on this, I think that a lot of people who are listening to this will really get pissed off. Is what they're going to...
I got pissed off when I read it.
Yeah, and I think when they find out how they go about it, it makes you upset. They get all free postage. In fact, when they retire, they get free postage also. The congressmen. The average congressional congressman spent in 2010 944. I think I got this wrong here.
944,000.
Yeah, in vacations. And coming back to 2012, they spent $1,353,000 in vacations.
Each congressman.
Yeah.
So we've got 500 of these guys
Mhm.
spending almost $1.5 million on vacations per year.
When I give you the final amounts for 2010 and 2012, you'll get an idea of how much they're actually using. Now, our congressmen will say, well, I want to go on a fact-finding mission. That's all they have to put on their document, and then it's just approved. There is no transparency to the American people. You can't get these records if you wanted to. So I don't know how the source that I have got it, but it's very accurate, the source that I have. And so all they do is put fact-finding and then go any place. Now, I would like to ask your audience, guess where the most three visited places are that they do their fact-finding missions? Would you read the book?
I would, yeah. I know it's got to be Europe and probably Greece and.
Yeah. Well, it's Spain, Ireland, and France. That's where they do their fact-finding. So what's that tell you? I mean, the average person is going to say, wait a minute, why aren't they going to Iraq or Afghanistan or,
Somalia?
Or, someplace. But no, they don't. And all they have to do is, they take care of each other. It's like an old boys club. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. They're spending all our money. So they spent over $588 million on travel, our congressman did. And that was in 2010. And to come back in 2012, they increased that amount by 43%. And they spent, looking for the total here. But there was an increase in.
Yeah, it looks like $410 million in 2010
Yeah.
and $588 million in 2012.
Exactly.
So 2 years later, and they had increased 40%.
43%.
Over 40%. Wow.
So, and again, all they got to do is vacations. All they're doing is taking vacations. And this has been brought on newspapers. There was one congressman who wanted to have his daughter get married in Ireland and paid for all his family on the tax dollar to go over there and do it. And basically, he was slapped on the hand, and that was it. And it's in the book. I mean,
I saw something the other day that Michelle Obama has spent more on vacations than any other first lady.
Well, I
history.
didn't get that information, but I've heard it on the news, on the liberal news, ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN, where she takes separate vacations from her husband. He went to Hawaii, and then she went after he left. I don't know if they're getting along or what's going on, but why? Why do they have to fly one jet all the way over to Hawaii, put them on a regular airplane, let them fly? Same thing, and also, our congressmen always fly first class. In a drop of a hat, they can go home every weekend if they so desire. I bet there's a lot of guys out in the military who are privates that sure would like to go at least once or twice on the American dollar. Let's give that money to them and let these people, I get $174,000, sure, you're a servant of the government, but that's way too much money that they're spending for free travel. It's vacations.
Well, it looks to me like they're spending about about 1,000 times more than their salary per year on
travel.
On travel.
Yeah.
On their expenses in general. So in real world, they don't get paid $175,000 in real liquid assets because it's all liquid to them. It's all free. So basically, every year they're making about $17 million You know.
Well, I've got it in the book. Right now I think I passed it with the total amount of monies that each congressman make, but the $174,000 is just that's what you want to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they get so many perks, and I want to go over that if I can.
Go for it.
I don't think most people in America know that our congressmen and senators actually do insider trading. This is what Martha Stewart got thrown in jail for. The worst offender of this was Nancy Pelosi. I'm trying to remember the company right off the top of my head. I forget what it is, but it was the Bank of America on charge fees every time you swiped your debit card. And they approached her because she was the congressperson where their home office was. So they wanted to get her to pass this bill through so that they could keep the swipe fees. Well, to show you how she was, at the end, she didn't approve what Bank of America did. But they gave her insider trading information, and she amassed several millions of dollars in just that one insider trading incident that she got involved with. But here's something that's interesting. Today they make $174K, Nancy Pelosi and all congresspersons. The interesting thing is on a congressional salary, and I think she's been in Congress since 1965, how much do you think she is worth?
Oh, since I know how they are.
But I mean, I want you to just use her salary.
Yeah, if you just use her salary,
How much do you think she'd be worth?
She'd probably be worth $1.5 million with her if she spent money for expenses.
Interesting. Now, he just said $1.5 million. She's worth $174 million. So tell me she hasn't been doing insider trading like it's been going out of style. That's why we're not getting what we want. These people are there to fill their pockets full of money. That's why you see people like McConnell, and you see Nancy Pelosi, and the gentleman from, well, he's not a gentleman, but he's from Nevada. What's his? Reed. That's why they don't retire. That's why they're so old. That's why Byrd was, died in office. They want to just keep filling their pockets. And they do. And we let them do it. Because these Congress people don't want to pass a bill. There was a bill presented, and it was turned down 3 times by Louise Slaughter. She was a Democrat. Surprise. And she tried to end it, and each time the bill got less oomph in it. In other words, had less power over them. And finally, it just died, and she gave up. They're never going to pass it, and we have to demand that they pass legislation to stop insider trading. Because a lot of these congressmen will sit on defense boards, committees or banking committees, and they find out that there's going to be a windfall. So they rush out and they invest all their money in it. And an example is something that most people out there don't know about, which is called the Apocalypse Briefing by Ben Bernanke. And before everything tumbled and fell apart, he had a special, for the uppity-ups, or the select people of Congress, he had them come in and he gave them what is called the Apocalypse Briefing. And he said, tomorrow the market's going to fall, so you need to get on the phone right now and call everybody you know and get your money out of whatever it is so that you don't lose it. And probably over 90% of the congressmen and senators, from what I understand, did just that. But did you hear any of them call you on the phone or try to notify you through the news, or did anybody tell you that you could take your money out? No. They took care of themselves. Again, this is the privileged class of our representatives. I learned after I got done with the book, Republicans and Democrats are no different. And they put up a good show against one another, but when it's all done, it was like when they passed Prohibition, they went across the street after they passed the bill, patted each other on the back, and then went and got drunk together across the street from Congress.
Yeah. And
that's basically what they're doing. They're getting drunk on our money. It's our money, not theirs. Here's some of the perks.
Basically, we're paying them to steal our money.
Yeah. And not only that, but what's kind of neat is they owe a big apology to Martha Stewart, because she didn't do anything that they didn't do, and I don't even know if Martha Stewart did insider trading. So, they made an example out of her. Maybe she was too close to somebody and they wanted to shut her up. So, whatever. Some of the things that they get that really makes me sick. They get an additional $3,000 tax deduction. So if they're out of their state and they're spending money on lunch or something, they can take that as off their deductions. So if they're in Washington, they're not in their congressional district, they get an extra $3,000 and they take full advantage of that. Wouldn't you like to have that? When you go to Washington, D.C., I was a young lieutenant in the Army, and I went to Washington, D.C., and it made me really angry. I went past Dulles Airport, and the best parking areas were all our congressmen and senators. And they get to park for free. They can go any place in Washington, D.C., stop their car, and where you would get a ticket for double parking or parking in the wrong place, they never pay anything. If they get a DUI, when's the last time you heard any congressman or senator getting a DUI, other than probably Patrick Kennedy, who crashed his car, but was there really any punishment involved with him? I mean, they run loose, and they take advantage of everything. They're above us. They're above all our laws. They get free daycare. If they have children, they get free daycare. Hey, mothers out there who work probably at Jack in the Box, and then you have another job in the evening, wouldn't you like free daycare? But yet this congressman or woman or congressman can have their children have free daycare.
And you're paying for it.
Yeah, you're paying for it. You're paying for all this stuff. Why do they need it at $174,000 plus, their free vacation? So I don't understand. The average American makes around $50,000 a year. It's actually gone down since I wrote the book. But yet, I've been told by Mr. Snerdley, who is Rush Limbaugh's screener, that this is not true what I'm saying. But the source I got it from said it is true. A lot of the congressmen don't pay their bills at the congressional dining room. So they're getting free meals. So that, I would have to say, is probably maybe the only thing in here that I've written about that's been questioned so far.
And the truth is, Walt, that I've seen in the last decade of research that whatever we usually say, it's usually at least twice as bad.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that your numbers are skewed way under budget because.
Well, I've tried to make it as honest as I can with my facts. I don't list all my facts because I'm a private citizen. And you can Google anything on here that I've put on here and you're going to find out that it's right on and it's going to make you angry. I had a dentist, you might know him, Dr. Beck, and he read my book. He was the first person to read over my book, and he said, you told me I was going to get angry, but pardon me, but I was pissed off when I got done reading your book. It made me so angry. And I would Google stuff that you wrote in there, and it all came up correct. So I said, yeah, I'm trying to get the attention of the American people, of the areas. We go to work, we're too busy raising our kids and going to work, and we want to trust these people with doing things for us, but they're not doing the right things. And they've taken advantage of us. No one's watching what's going on.
And that's what happens when you dumb down society to the point where they only have A and B as a choice.
Yeah.
And that's all that's promoted to them is A or B.
One of the other things that made me kind of angry is that a congressman, after serving just 5 years in Congress, when he hits the age of 50, now remember, you have to wait till you're 65 years of age, but when he hits 50, he gets a minimum of $60,000 a year for the rest of his life, plus whatever other retirements are. Everybody talks about Ronald Reagan being a great president, which I believe he was, but he had 4 different retirements like this. He was making more money than the richest people who had any retirements when he retired.
So he got one for every office? Is that what?
He got one for Congress. I think he got one for Social Security. He got one for the President of the United States. The Screen Actors Guild was another one that he had. So he was quadruple dipping. As far as I'm concerned, what they need to do is make a law that says you can pick your highest earning retirement and that's it. Because that's one of the reasons, like Social Security, everybody goes, all the congressmen, I don't know if you know this is just a sidebar from what I've got down here. The only reason why we don't have Social Security today is because our congressmen have stolen it by supporting their pork barrel projects. Oh, we need the money. Let's take it out of Social Security. So they go, oh, we don't have anything. A local lady called in and says, I want to sue our congressman on the Bill Handel show, KFI, in Los Angeles. He goes, are you kidding me? You want to sell Congress? You want to sue Congress for taking the money out? That's never going to happen. And again, that's an example of our representatives. That money was just made as another tax. Anytime it's like Jerry Brown. He taxed the hell out of us. We passed a tax thing, and then all of a sudden a surplus showed up. He knew the whole time there was going to be a surplus. And just like in California, the teachers, if you don't think it's so, look for it yourself. The teachers, National Teachers Association, the teachers' unions in this state run the state of California. Jerry Brown, that's where he gets all his money for. And they always say, oh, it's for the child. It's not for the child, it's for their retirements. You know, it used to be that teachers and police officers didn't make a lot of money. But what's happened is they make a lot of money. They make a good retirement. And if you looked at it and saw it, you'd be very upset. You'd go, why are we passing more on education? But we do it because that's what our parents did.
And you know, the teachers are one thing to get money, but most of the police are uneducated. They have no insurance. I mean, really, they should be carrying their own insurance, having just like a commercial truck driver.